Hi everyone, today we talk about formation and structure of an SE, Società Europea, and the requirement, advantages and challenges which are incorporated with that. The SE is a legal company form that allows... The SE is a legal company form that allows businesses to operate under a single European identity across multiple countries. Unlike national companies, the SE is based on EU law, so it's recognized in all EU member states. This means that a company doesn't need to create a new legal entity in each country. It can act as one unified company. The SE especially is attractive for large firms that are active across borders because it makes cross-border mergers, business transfers, and also reorganizations much easier. It allows more flexible corporate structures, and it can improve the company's internal image, and it simplifies the management of operations in multiple EU countries. So I'm going to talk about the origins and the legal basis. The SE first actually was negotiated so the idea came up in 1960s, but the negotiations with the different states, different countries, took over 40 years to set the right restrictions. And the two key legal acts are the regulation EC number 2157/2001, and this regulation defines the rules of setting up and running an SE, and it covers the minimum capital required, which is 120,000. But my colleagues are going to get deeper into that topic later. And the directive, this is mainly focused on employee involvement, and ensures that when companies become an SE, workers keep their rights to participation, and such as councils and board level representation. Before the SE is registered, there must be a negotiation process within the company, so that employees can talk about their rights and if they want to participate in higher roles. And lastly, I'm going to just talk about the SE adoption by countries. And Germany is by far the leader with 1,800 currently in Germany registered. And it's mostly because Germany has a huge bureaucracy problem, which is way easier with an SE than with an actual AG or something like that. And the Czech Republic is also super highly known with the numbers because the low cost there is quite good for setting up an SE. And Luxembourg is also probably very popular because of the financial sector and the tax laws, which is, I think everybody knows that already. And lastly, France has several high-profile SEs, such as AXA SE. French companies often choose SEs for European branding and legal flexibility. And my colleague's going to go further.
Hi, my name is Paolo, and now we explore in depth the method of formation of SE. As my colleague said before, SE is a public company limited, created under European Economic Law, and was created to manage more efficiency and more easily the business operation within the European Union. The first method is a merger of capital companies from different European Union member states. This is the most comprehensive method and allows two or more companies to merge in a single structure, SE, and a good example, it can be Airgroup SE. This is an aerospace company that merged to create ADC, which become later Airgroup Group SE. This structure allows to centralize the governance and either to manage more efficient the investment. The second method is the formation of a European holding company. This method is used when a company wishes to remain legally separated from the point of law, and is particularly used for project or collaborative investing. The third method is the formation of a joint subsidiary SE. These two or more companies can joint merge to form a joint subsidiary and to manage more efficient, they manage investment and share investment. A good example is SGL Carbon SE, that is a European company that was created by different partnership in the same field, like as in the carbon technology, and this improve the management of shared investment, of the shared department like the research and development. The fourth is the transformation of a national company into a SE. This method is used by the company that have a significantly present in the other country and allow to have a more consistent legal identity. And a good example of this operation is Allianz SE that transformed in a SE in 2006, and this allows to manage more efficient the operation across the countries. And the last method is a subsidiary SE created by an existing SE. This method allows an already established SE in a country to expand in other countries and creating a subsidiary SE. The general requirements are: must be have registered in an office within the European Union, a minimal capital of 120, and must involve a company from at least 2 European Union countries, except in transformation case. And even if in this case the società europea are governed by the European law, the national authorities play a key role. They are responsible for registering the SE, verify legal and financial requirements, and enforcing national law on taxation, employee, and reporting. We find a case study, SAP SE. This is originally based in Germany, and SAP become transformed from SAP AG is a public company limited in German to a SAP SE with the conversion method, one of the 4 methods provided for through the regulation. And this is a lead example of rapidly growing European enterprise in the Industry 4.0. Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Federico, and I'm going to talk about the internal structure and the governance model of the Societas Europea. So the European Economic Statute has allowed a great deal of flexibility for this societary form. And in fact, it allows for a 2-tier or dualistic system or a 1-tier or monistic system. The flexibility is mainly due to the fact that companies that come from very different countries that have very different needs or different legal traditions can transform into this legal entity without too many problems. So starting from the 2-tier system or dualistic, it has 2 different boards and they have to be completely separate. So a member of the management board can also be a member of the supervisory board. The management board is composed only of executive members, so they actually focus on operational management of the company. They are the executive arm, and they represent the company externally. They also have to report to the supervisory board, usually at least once every 3 months, but more often than that, usually. The supervisory board does not have any executive members, and has the role of ensuring the best interest of the stakeholders, so usually the shareholders, but in some cases also the employees. And they do so by overseeing, monitoring, and advising the management board. They review strategy, finance, and compliance. In doing these duties, they can help themselves through the formation of committees, for example, audit or risk management committees. And they maintain their power over the management board thanks to the ability to appoint or dismiss management board members. This type of form is very traditional for countries like Germany or Austria, while for other countries like France or the Netherlands, a one-tier system is far more common. So in the one-tier system, we have only one board, an administrative board, which comprises of both executive and non-executive members. And basically, they are the previous system, but combined into one. This has the advantage of usually quicker decision-making and information sharing, but at a greater risk of a conflict of interest. Okay. Independently of the type of system used, the shareholders meeting remains the most important decision-making body of the Societas Europea. They hold the power to elect board members, so supervisory board members in a two-tier system or administrative members in the one-tier system. And they can also vote on key strategic decisions, for example, mergers, acquisitions, large asset disposals, or amendments to the company statute. They also can approve annual financial statements and decide on the distribution of net profits. Finally, they can modify the capital of the firm, so either decrease or increase capital, and liquidate the company. A peculiarity of the Societas Europea, given by Directive 86/EC of 2001, is the worker involvement. And the objective of this directive is to not lose any existing rights in the original workers from the firms that go on to create a Societas Europea, because of the great differences in worker involvement between European countries. For example, Germany is very known for having a lot of worker involvement, while in Italy it's not really that common. So usually we have a 6-month period in which employee representatives and the Societas Europea negotiate that can be extended up to 12 months. And after this period, if no decision is made, no agreement is made, there is a set of standard rules given by the directive so that the Societas Europea can always be formed. But the most important thing is that there is no loss in existing rights. So, going back to the case study, after SAP, the SAP society decided to transform from a German AG to a Societas Europea, it decided to maintain its German tradition by adopting a dualistic board, so supervisory and management boards completely separate. And the supervisory board was comprised of 18 members, 9 of which were elected by the shareholders, and the other 9 were employee representatives. So in this case, we had a very strong employee involvement in the firm. It was not just consultation and information for the employees, but they were actually represented in the supervisory board. The supervisory board also decided to form several committees, the most important of which were the finance and investment, which focused on the maintaining the finances of the firm and finding strategic investments. The Audit and Compliance Committee, which focused on the maintaining and respecting all the different, both European and German laws. And a nomination committee, which focused on finding supervisory board candidates, which then could be voted upon by the shareholders in the annual meeting. And finally, a personnel and governance committee, which mainly focused on the relations and collaboration between the different boards. Another peculiar thing about SAP SE is that it decided to form a third board, which is not really a formal board, the extended board, which is formed by senior leaders from all across the company, and it basically acts as a strategic advisor for the executive members. Thanks.
So I want to talk about the advantage of the SE. SE can move its registered office to another EU country without needing to close the company and open a new one. This is very useful for companies that want to grow or react to changes in the market or tax laws. For example, SAP as an SE could easily move its headquarters to another EU country in the future if needed, without losing its legal status. Moreover, the company can choose between a two-tier system or a one-tier system, which allows for customized governance. SAP chose the SE form, so it could keep its two-board system, which is common in German. At the same time, it added some European features to make the company more flexible and better prepared for international growth. This helped an SAP stay in control while becoming more agile as it expanded across Europe. Another important point is using the SE form shows that the company is modern and international. It gives the company a stronger image and build trusts with investors, business partners, and customers. When SAP became an SE that talked about how employees should be involved, they made an agreement that explained this clearly, so everyone knew how workers from different countries would take part, even as more people joined the company. And finally, the rules for employee participation are discussed and agreed on when the SE is created. After that, these rules stay the same even if the company grows. This gives both company and the workers more security and stability. By showing itself as one European company, SAP could work better with its office in different countries and follow one clear plan for the EU market. What do these advantages actually bring? Companies get more legal freedom to enter new markets, so they can also save money by making their work across countries more efficient. In addition, they can bring different national companies together into one European company, which makes the whole structure easier. And finally, being an SE helps build trust with international investors because it shows the company is united and ready for the future.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Luis, and I will tell you something about the main challenges of setting up and managing a SE. SAP is one of Europe's biggest software companies, and in 2014 it changed its legal form from a German AG to an SE to reflect its global business. But this change was not easy and brought several problems. SAP was one of the first DAX-listed companies took this step. And one big challenge was the high effort and cost. The SAP had to deal with many legal rooms from Germany and Europe at the same time. It needed expert advice and a lot of planning. That's possible for a big company like SAP, but smaller businesses might not manage it. Because the minimum capital required for an SE is 120,000 euros. Another problem was the mix of national laws. Even as an SE, SAP still had to follow German rules on taxes, labor, and company structure. So the legal system didn't become easier as many had hoped, because the SE regulation does not replace national law, it only supplements it. And another problem was the employee participation, that was also difficult. Because the EU law says employees must be involved in company decisions. And the SAP had to talk to workers' representatives from several countries and set up a special group to decide how this would work. That took time and careful planning, of course. Although the SE form sounds good in theory, not many companies have chosen it. Because the SAP is one of the few big names that did it. And even after the official change, SAP still had to make many internal adjustments. And in 2023, only about 3,000 SEs are registered in the EU. And lastly, the SE model is too complex for most small and medium-sized companies, and the SAP had the money and people to handle it. But for others, national company forms are often easier and cheaper. And to sum up this real quick, the SAP's change to an SE shows both the potential and the problems of this legal form. And it's a good fit for large international firms, but it's complicated, expensive, and hard to manage. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sertac and our topic is to implement the formation and structure of an SE into the business game and how choosing this legal structure influences the business strategy of an corporation. We've designed 3 game ideas that reflect this topic in a practical and engaging way. Our first idea is an interactive legal form dashboard, means that at the start of the game and after every period, players choose between a GmbH, which is a limited liable company, AG and Societe Europea. And using a multiple choice tool, they immediately see a comparison of the advantages and disadvantages of each legal form. And for example, in capital access, tax treatment or employee satisfaction, etc. And this choice has long-term consequences for growth and efficiency during the game. Our second idea is the EU expansion is only possible as an SE company. So key EU markets like Italy or France can only be entered if the company is structured as in Societe Europea. This models the legal and strategic benefits of an SE when operating across borders within the European Union, and players must decide whether to start with this form or convert to it later in order to access international markets. So you can choose each period if you want to change your legal form from a limited liable company to an SE, etc. And this comes with several advantages and disadvantages. Last but not least, EU subsidies for the most sustainable SE means each round EU subsidies are awarded to the most sustainable company, but only if it is an SE. So to receive funding from the EU or a subsidy, players need to both adopt a legal form as an SE, and also they have to have a high ESG score. So if you have chosen SE and you have an high ESG score, then you get these EU subsidies. And these 3 elements show how the structure of an SE influences expansion, funding opportunities, and strategic positioning. Players learn that choosing the right legal form is not just a formality, it's a key factor in long-term business success, and especially in a European environment. Thank you for listening. That was our presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for those ideas, which leads to one question. Is from your research done on this, let's say, European legal form, does it really have advantages with respect to subsidies, etc.? Is that really true? I mean, you could still include it into the business game, of course, but is it really true? So is it really necessary for the, let's say, starting with the, here on this slide we see, well, for the EU expansion, it's only possible with that legal form. You might get extra funding. Is it really necessary to be an SE?
I mean, there are other European legal forms that maybe also can get subsidies, but I'm pretty sure it helps to be a society that is European viewed instead of single national, because it's supposed, I mean, people expect that it's involving multiple EU countries, and so to get European funding, it's probably best to be involved in multiple European countries, I guess.
But you're saying, I guess, so it's you're not sure, right?
I mean, SAP-SE didn't really get any European subsidies, so we haven't really found this in our specific case study. But
oh, okay, thank you.
And sorry, I would like to ask a similar question. So could Duet GmbH, a German company, just put that German company to Italy, for example, and stay limited liability company of Germany? Would that be a possibility, or are there disadvantages, or is it not possible?
It is possible, but it comes with several bureaucracy and very high discomfort for a company. So if you choose to be an SE, it makes your business or your cross-border activities within the EU a lot easier, because you don't have that much bureaucracy. You don't need to create a new entity to work in Italy, for example, as a German company, and Thanks.
So we have, it's a little bit, it's not harmonized, but you can, you do not have to found an extra entity. If you have a German limited liability company, you can just put the administrative seat to Italy. That is possible, but there are administrative issues. That is correct. Thank you.
Thank you. So finally, so to conclude, what do you think? Would it be a good idea for a small limited liability company to try to become an SE, or not so much? Or maybe we are still missing a limited liability company on European basis, like the European private company, as it was in the proposal issued in 2008.
Well, I mean, a Societas Europea is thought for a large company. So the idea of a Societas Europea is a society that operates in multiple European countries. So the idea of having a small business that operates in multiple countries is kind of contradictory. So it's not really meant for small and medium business, and for now we don't have really an alternative for small and medium businesses.
From the audience, any question? No. So thank you very much.